right here, right now, on your favorite channel. M&M's is just all over the place. All right, iRacing, artificial intelligence, or AI racing. Let's talk about this. AI racing within iRacing is a fantastic mode of racing. You can set it up yourself, custom rosters, whether you do it through the UI on iRacing or through Trading Paint's collection AI rosters, or build your own. One of the beauties of AI racing is you can race whenever you want. You don't have to be there for a specific time slot. But the number one complaint I have, and that I've seen on the forums and other YouTube videos and etc., is AI racing is just too darn perfect. The AI drivers run perfect lines. They almost never wreck each other or yourself, and it's just aggravating to be running around doing time trial laps. You can spend hours adjusting and tweaking and seem to have no real effect except huge hammer swings one way or the other. Either you're getting the pole all the time or you're at the back of the field all the time. Let's fix this. As I mentioned, you can create an AI roster in the iRacing UI under AI Racing. But here we're going to be focusing on using a Trading Paints collection, whether it's one that's already built by somebody else or you create your own. This is not going to be a step-by-step tutorial on how to create an AI collection in Trading Paints, but I will have some tips and tricks about Trading Paints at the end of this video. I have made a video once before about how to make a collection in Trading Paints and turn it into AI car set. If anybody has any questions, I can point you to that video, or it might be time to remake that video. But this is not a step-by-step tutorial on how to create a collection in Trading Paints. So we're looking at my Global Mazda MX-5 Championship collection. I went through the Trading Paints website and found a bunch of cars that I like and put them into a collection and turned it into an AI car set. When an AI car set is produced within the Trading Paints website, Trading Paints randomly assigns all of the skill parameters to each individual car along with made-up names. Here we are in the AI car set editing page on Trading Paints after we've created an AI car collection and turned it into an AI car set. When I built the Mazda MX-5 car set, I decided just to name everybody the sponsor of the car. You see Valvoline, STP, and Batman here in this case. Then I changed the numbers to simple sequential numbers 1, 2, 3 all the way through 30. Off to the right of each car, we see the skill sets. We have age, skill, optimism, aggression, smoothness, strategy, riskiness, and pit crew skill. The skill settings for each parameter in a drop-down menu is 0 to 100. What do these numbers mean? How AI driver attributes affect racing. Each AI driver attribute influences the AI driver during AI events as follows. Relative skill, a measure of how skillful this AI driver is compared to the other AI drivers in this AI opponent roster. A lower value results in slower cornering speeds and a less optimum driving line. A higher value results in faster corner speeds and a more optimum driving line. Aggression, a measure of the AI driver's behavior when interacting with other cars. Low aggression encourages more car spacing and less overtake attempts. High aggression encourages tighter car spacing and more overtake attempts. Optimism, a measure of the AI driver's confidence in their own skill. A lower value results in a more conservative throttle and braking behavior, such as lift and coast into a braking zone. A higher value results in more confident throttle and braking behavior, such as aiming for optimal acceleration and braking marks more often. Smoothness, a measure of the AI driver's steering behavior. A lower value results in more oversteer. A higher value results in more understeer. Age, the simulated age in years of the AI driver. A value closer to prime racing age results in faster reaction times. As age increases, it also provides racing experience that can slightly improve overall performance. Pit crew skill, a measure of the training and consistency of the AI driver's pit crew. A lower value results in slower pit service times. A higher value results in optimal pit service times. Pitting strategy riskiness, a measure of the AI driver's likelihood to gamble with pit service. A lower value results in conservative pitting strategy. A higher value results in pushing the car to avoid pitting. My goal when I created this car set was to try to make the AI drivers as realistic as possible. A little reckless, a little chaos going on, oversteer, getting loose, maybe even wrecking a little bit more often. We can do that by adjusting the skill parameters, and we can do that within the UI. Here we are in the iRacing UI under the AI Racing screen tab. I've got the opponent rosters tab clicked under AI Racing. I'm going to select one of my opponent rosters that I've created. We'll do the Cadillac Championship run here. We'll click on this. Then we see the Edit Opponent Roster interface show up here, and we can see all the cars. Then select the drop-down menu for any of the cars, and here we see the driver attributes as they are created by Trading Paints. The AI rosters are saved on your computer under Documents, iRacing, AI Rosters. I got it highlighted, the Cadillac Championship AI roster. We're going to click on that, and then we'll click on what they call the JSON file, the roster file, and this is what you see. This here is the exact same thing that we were seeing in the UI under the iRacing tab, the Rosters tab. This is the notepad that contains all that information. I'm going to show you a little trick here. Back in the Edit Opponent Roster, take your mouse, the slider bar here under Aggression, we see 52%. I'm going to change that 1% to 53, save the edits. Back here on your computer, we're going to reopen that roster file. Look at that. Everything is now broken up for every driver. Easy access. We'll get into that a little bit later here. So under the Edit Opponent Roster in the UI in iRacing AI Opponent Rosters, just change one thing, 1% on one driver, and you'll get that nice, smooth looking notepad with all the information right there. Okay, so we're back at the Trading Paints editing UI page for the AI car set. You can change these parameters here, but what if you've downloaded an AI car set that someone else created? You cannot get in here to this editing page. You have to do it in the UI. Okay, so say you've downloaded my Global Mazda MX-5 Championship AI roster collection. Under Documents, iRacing, AI Rosters, there it is right there. All the TGA files that provide the paint jobs to the car, the roster, and then a Trading Paints notepad that just simply has the number 34217. That is the category, the number as far as Trading Paints is concerned. Okay, So what you want to do is right click on that, copy. In your documents folder, create a folder called My iRacing Stuff, AI Rosters. I put it underneath All Mazda and paste that there. So you now have it saved on your computer. Then, as you can see, I renamed it Local Test Global Mazda MX-5 Championship. You wouldn't have to have the word test in there if you want. This is, for my testing purposes. So I renamed it Local Test Global Mazda MX-5 Championship. Okay, so I'm going to delete that. We don't need that right now. So now you have that AI Racing car set saved on your computer. You've renamed it, to something like Local Test, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Local Global Mazda MX-5 Championship. Right click on it, copy. Go back to the iRacing folder, AI Rosters, copy, and paste it here. Because remember, we changed the name, like, for example, the Cadillac CTSV Championship. I copied and pasted it over into my folder, renamed it Local, then copied and pasted that back into the AI Roster folder under the iRacing folder. Now when you come to your opponent rosters in the UI, you can see that I have the Cadillac CTSV Championship that was downloaded directly from Trading Paints. And here you can see I have Local Cadillac CTSV Championship. Okay, this is the one that I use. I could go back to Trading Paints now and unfavorite the regular one that I downloaded and use the one when I have seasons created with this car set. You follow me on that? You now have that car set saved on your computer. It's yours. You'll have it forever. If Trading Paints were to go down, you could still run an AI season or race because you're using the folder that you have created and saved on your computer and then put it back into the AI rosters under iRacing. You are not utilizing Trading Paints. Now, to facilitate this, something very important that you have to do, once you've copied over and saved and renamed, and the reason you need to rename this is you can't have two called Cadillac CTSV Championship 43851. You have to change it to Local, okay? We don't see that Trading Paints notepad anymore. When you copy that over to save on your computer, you need to delete that folder. Then you have no communication with Trading Paints. If that were still in there, you would have communication through the internet with Trading Paints, and it would try to reload all these TGA files. Well, there's no reason to do that. You have them saved. Okay, so we've been to Trading Paints. We've either created an AI car set or we've downloaded one that someone else has already made. We want to change all the numbers. This is specifically if you've downloaded the AI car set that someone else has already created. Like I said, you can't get into the editing page and change those things. You have to do it on your computer. All right, we're back in the Opponent Rosters tab under the AI Racing UI. And we're going to do this as an example with the Cadillac CTSV Championship car set that I created, that I've downloaded from Trading Paints. We're going to pretend that this is the local version, the one that we've saved on our computer, then imported back into iRacing. Okay, this is just for example. So we're going to click on that. Here we have all of the cars in this AI car set. Hit the drop-down menu on car number 1. Here we have all the relative skills and the aggression settings as it was built by Trading Paints. Okay, so like I said, I wanted tight fields, I wanted reckless drivers, some possible accidents, yada yada yada. You can change all of these here and it will be reflected in the notepad. Aggression, I wanted them as aggressive as possible. Optimism, I wanted them as optimistic as possible. Smoothness, now remember on this one here, 0 is a lot of oversteer, 100 is a lot of understeer. 50 would be perfect. I decided to go with a lot of oversteer, so that's all the way to 0. Age, I made them all 90. Pit crew skill and pit strategy riskiness on my tests with the Mazda AI car set, I just left that the way Trading Paints had it created because we're not going to be doing any pitting. Okay, so that was the numbers that I came up with: 100%, 100%, 0, 90, and the pit crew and the pitting strategy I just left the same. Okay, up here you can see a drop-down menu, apply to all. Apply all to roster. Now, when I come down to the next car, all those parameters are exactly the same. The only parameter that you cannot, quote, apply to all is the relative skill for each driver. Okay, see, we have 90 up here on this car, we have 91 on this car, and this is per Trading Paints algorithm, 100% on this car. Okay, so my next step in my test was I made everybody 0 on the skill. Okay, went through here and did this for each and every single one of them and save edits. So here we are in the notepad for the Mazda. I'm sorry I'm jumping back and forth, but I didn't want to mess up that Cadillac one. Okay, so here we have driver age of 90, skill set. I adjusted a couple of these from 0 up to 5 and 10 just kind of randomly. But then we have 100 optimism, 100 aggression, 0 smoothness, riskiness, 70 and 80. That was made by Trading Paints. So every single driver is 90, has a skill of 0, 5, or 10. They all have 100% optimism and aggression and 0 smoothness. Remember, I want them loose. And you can see as I scroll through here, every driver's the same pretty much. Like I said, the driver skill is either 0, 5, or 10. Everything else is the same. So just to repeat, I have the Global Mazda MX-5 Championship as it's downloaded from Trading Paints with nothing changed. And then I have the local Global Mazda MX-5 Championship that I've adjusted. Once you've made your changes and done some test races and you've got what you like on your car set with your adjustments, remember that you've done that in the UI, and that is under the iRacing AI rosters folder. You'll want to copy that car set back over into your save folder under your documents so you have it for safekeeping. Because remember, you've made the changes in the iRacing UI. That does not affect your saved car set under your documents in your save folder there. Now there's one more setting that we need to be concerned about, and that is when you're setting up an AI race or an AI season, and that is under the opponent roster tab of creating a race or a season. You have the slider buttons there where you set the overall skill from 0, I believe it's up to 120 that the aliens are. We need to be concerned about that. Let's read about this. AI drivers and actual skill. All AI drivers have an actual skill attribute that represents their overall driving capabilities with a focus on cornering and driving lines. Actual skill is determined by the relationship between the relative skill values of each AI driver within the opponent roster. And remember, I've got that set at 0, 5, and 10. Okay, and the skill spread of the AI event in which they are participating. For all opponent rosters, an AI driver's actual skill value is restricted to a value within the skill spread for the AI event, and it is scaled based upon the relative skill value compared to all other AI drivers in the opponent roster. For example, if you have an opponent roster with AI drivers who have relative skill values ranging from 0 to 100 and everything in between, but the AI event skill spread values are set to a minimum 30 and maximum 60, all AI opponents' actual skill values will be scaled to values between 30 and 60. This means any AI driver with a relative skill value of 100 instead will be scaled down to an actual skill of 60 for the AI event. And in any AI driver with a relative skill value of 0 will be scaled up to an actual skill of 30 for the AI event. All other AI drivers with relative skill values from 1 to 99 will also have their actual skill scaled appropriately between 30 and 60. Relative skill allows you to utilize the same opponent roster while maintaining the ability to vary difficulty quickly via the skill spread of the AI event. This means AI opponents with high relative skill values will always be scaled to have actual skill values near the maximum of the skill spread for the AI event. Conversely, AI opponents with low relative skill values will always be scaled to have actual skill values near the minimum skill spread for the AI event. The narrower your range of skill spread for an AI event, the closer in actual skill all AI drivers will be, regardless of the relative skill values. Since these values are relative and scaled, be mindful of AI events with very few AI drivers, very large differences in relative skill, or a very wide skill spread. These situations can result in actual values during the AI event that might appear very different from their relative skill values. Wow, that's a mouthful. Okay, one more time in the UI, under seasons, my Mazda MX-5 AI Championship season. I'm going to click on that. I've already got the season set up, so we'll go to Edit the Season. Then we'll go to AI Opponents. Here you see that through experimentation, I have the skill spread for the AI roster at 61 low and 61 high. So everybody is 61% of their relative skill and all the other attributes in the skills tab that we set under the AI opponent rosters. And I wanted a real tight field. I got that. And I was being mindful with what we just read, that having a wide skill spread really affects the relative skills that you've set for each individual driver. So how did I come up with 61%? Well, originally I started with both high and low at 100%. Okay, so I had everybody at 0 skill or 5 or 10, and then had them 90 years old, yada yada yada. Okay, so I wanted to see what that did compared to my ability in the Mazda at the road courses. Man, I sucked. The AI was cracking off 2-minute 10 laps at Daytona, and I'm lucky if I can get to 2:14. So I was 4 seconds behind them. So I went down to 70 or 80, and finally I found out that for me, my skill set against the AI, 61 worked real well at Daytona. Now the next race in my championship will be at Watkins Glen. During practice, I will do some testing, and I like Watkins Glen, I've run there a lot. If I turn out to be running a time where I'm always on the pole, I'm going to bump these guys up, and I can do that in the championship season underneath the AI opponents for each individual race. I can change that up to 75 if I have to. You know, so I'm kind of a mid-packer, or maybe even starting in the back, have to work my way through the field. That's the way I like it. So, what are my results from these changes? Did I get what I wanted? I've run a half a dozen races and one official in my championship MX-5 season, and I think I have. There were AI cars wrecking each other in a couple of my test races, and in the official race that I ran for the season that I'll be uploading to YouTube here shortly, there was no actual accidents, but the smoothness bar, the one that's set all the way to 0 so they're loose, you know, oversteer, I saw that quite frequently, and that really affected the racing. So I think setting all the drivers' relative skill very, very low, 0, 5, or 10, the optimism and the aggression up to 100, age of 90, and then the smoothness to 0 because I wanted them to be loose. I think that really worked out pretty well in my opinion for what I was looking for. Alright, that's it for this video. Hope you can take some of my tips and tricks and put it to use for some more enjoyable AI racing. In the pinned comment to this video, I'll put all links to the iRacing how-to page that we had some screenshots of, the link to my Global Mazda MX-5 Championship car set. Just be aware that that collection on Trading Paints has not been adjusted. I think I'll leave it the way Trading Paints has built it. There might be people out there that like it that way. You would have to use the tips that I've shown in this video to change it to what I think that I like. We'll find out as more races go by in this championship, and then it'll be oval racing. You know, do these numbers and the strategy that I have here work with oval racing AI? Alright guys and gals, that's all I've got for you today. Thanks for coming along for the ride, and hope to see you next time.